So, Teresa, I come from business, I have a background in finance and trade, and I heard that in politics there is a lot of online abuse, and I didn't really appreciate what that meant, but actually it is invasive and it's demoralising, and it's very personal often and relentless. So what can we do about that? And I worry also people entering public life, but also children who are exposed to that so regularly and it becomes their norm. What is your experience of that and what can we do?
If we look at social media overall, it has huge advantages. And we found that during the pandemic, for example. The ability to be communicating with people was hugely important. But sadly, it can be used by people for the wrong reasons. It can be used for abuse, for bullying, for harassment. And that's a problem for our democracy because it will put good people off potentially coming into politics. And that's something we need to change. But also, there are people, there's people behind in jail who have been threatening myself and other members of Parliament. And they've got to that, it can get to that level of what people are doing. I think for young people it's very important that we help them to recognise and educate about how to recognise how you use social media and how it can be misused, so they don't just accept everything that comes along.
Yes.
I always describe social media like this. You used to have a situation where old Joe sat at the end of the bar in his local pub muttering into his pint of beer, and his thoughts were so ridiculous or abusive or extreme, but nobody took any notice of him because it was old Joe in the corner. Now old Joe mutters on social media and all the other old Joes around the world respond, and suddenly those extreme views, those abusive views become a world view and become accepted.
And people believe it, which I find extraordinary because it's often untrue, and yet if enough Joes repeat it, suddenly it becomes everybody's true belief.
Yes, it becomes, people think it must be true because it's being repeated. And what we need for young people is for them to be able to challenge, to understand that they should challenge, not just receive and accept, but actually challenge and question.
And I guess one big step in the right direction is making sure that our leaders and our politicians conduct themselves in an appropriate way online.
It's very important that, the world of politics today is different from when I entered as Member of Parliament first 27 years ago, because social media has become much more important as a tool of communication. But politicians, Members of Parliament, those wanting to become Members of Parliament should always understand that they are setting a standard for other people. Other people will look at what they are doing. And that's why it's so important that those who are standing for election actually abide by the highest standards in public life.